do want it. Mads Mikkelsen and Hugh Dancy, everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, Boston. I always wanted to say that.
Well, we're making dreams come true here tonight. So, if my math is correct, while the show was airing, the pair of you did precisely one panel together. And in the 9 years since the show ended, you had one virtual appearance together, Nerdist Hannibal Reunion. Now you've had 3 panels together in 3 months. I think we're all very curious to know. How did this Hannibal reunion tour come about, and how do you feel about the fan reaction to it?
Oh, well, it's great to see all the flower crowns, and apparently also now on stage.
That's right, we're invading.
So we're expecting some different kind of answers, or questions, maybe. No, it's fantastic that it's been 10 years since we started, or 11 years. And it's still with you guys and with us. It's rarely a situation you do as an actor to have a certain film that will always chase you, but this show, for some reason, for a lot of good reasons, I understand, it's still around us, and we appreciate you guys being so solid fans.
How did you start doing these panels again? Did it just happen? Someone called you? They were like,
well,
I make Hannibal?
there's so much fan engagement with the show that if we're going to be around here and meet people, it seems crazy not to sit in front of you and answer your questions. Most of them are very welcome.
And will we see more stops on the tour?
Don't know. Good question.
More panels?
Yeah?
Yeah, if you can find a room.
We'll find the room, you show up. Great, so Hannibal often sees characters returning obsessively to particular moments in time, wondering what might have happened in some other world. Fans, of course, do the same. One moment I want to return to is in Digestivo. After Hannibal saves Will from Mason, we see him working on time travel equations by Will's bedside. Mads, if Hannibal cracked the code and could reverse time at that moment, what point do you think he would have gone back to, and what would he have changed?
I'm not sure that I, or Hannibal for that matter, is a big fan of changing history, because we do know that a small change here will be a gigantic change down the path, right? But I had this question quite a few times when I did the Indiana Jones film. Am I on? Normally I get a laugh at that. When I say Indiana Jones, no. Yeah, where would I go back? And I was thinking about it a lot, and I wanted to go back and meet the PR people of Genghis Khan. Because, one of the most ruthless bastards in history. But somehow, I don't know what they did, these PR people, but they succeeded in this generation of people finds him super fascinating and cool.
Well, most of them are related to him.
Quite a few, yeah. But there's something fascinating about that. We look back on a man and a part of history as one of the coolest part of history. And then we realized, oh yeah, but he also did a lot of rape and killing, that's true. Yeah. So yeah, go back and meet Genghis Khan and see how he pulled it off.
So you don't think Hannibal was trying to change any time when he was working on his time travel equations?
No, I think he was just curious. No, I mean, yeah, he does like to play God in a sense, but even for him, I think that would be a little too much.
Okay, fair enough. And Hugh, what about Will? If in the final moments of the series, he somehow unlocked the secrets of time travel, do you think he would turn back time?
Rather than fall off a cliff. Yes, I do. Where would he go? Pretty much anywhere. But I don't think he. I think like Mads. I don't think he's interested in that as a concept.
So on the topic of time, is there anything you felt was a core truth about your character while you were filming that you changed your mind on since the show concluded?
Not changed my mind, no. I think as Brian was writing the show over the course of 3 years, it develops, so maybe the understanding, and through the process of just filming it, right, and doing the work, you come to a deeper understanding. But after that, no. What I found is that I meet a lot of people who have almost a much better understanding than I do.
It's interesting because I think both Hugh and I, or Will Graham and Hannibal, they were characters that normally when you do a character in a film, you will often bump into a situation where the actor will say, no, my character can't do that, or my character wouldn't do that. And that wasn't really the case, specifically for Hannibal, because he could do anything the writer wanted him. Because if he had an agenda, he would just use any means to get there, right? And later on in the process, it turned out that you got fairly surprised with what your character could do as well. So it was a unique experience for an actor to be wearing the shoes of two people who were basically as open as a book.
That's true. We love Will and Hannibal for that. So Hugh, 7 years ago now, at a convention in London, you shared that Will didn't associate the idea of love with Hannibal until Bedelia brought it up to him. And you told me that while Will came to know Hannibal was in love with him, Will was not himself driven by being in love with Hannibal during the season 3 finale. Do you still find that to be true?
Yes, I do.
So given that Brian has said the series is on continuing to explore Hannibal and Will's love story and intimacy, should there be a season 4, what do you think it would take for Will to fall in love with Hannibal?
7 seasons? I don't know, I don't think that's the conscious thought process going on.
Unconscious.
I think Will's coming to terms with something within himself, primarily, right?
Okay. And Mads, when do you think Hannibal stopped seeing Will as a fascinating experiment and started seeing him as a fascinating experiment and also a life partner?
I can't imagine Hannibal ever using the phrase.
It depends on how long that life is, right? I know that we're not here to disappoint any of you guys. It's not the first thing that is or the most important thing in their relationship. There's a mutual fascination, and they see each other for who they are. And yes, we can equate that to love or platonic love or anything, but primarily they are cat and mouse, and they keep changing who's the cat and who's the mouse. And that's the fascination they have of each other as well. And a little love. Okay.
Great. At the top of the cliff,
It's silent.
for each other. Let's put aside Brian's vision of Brian Fuller, everyone, for a moment. If Hannibal and Will got to design their ideal next season, what would they each want to happen after the fall?
Bounce? I feel I'm not sure that I can agree with the premise of the question, because Brian is the architect, right? That's really true, and it's his vision, right? It's his. Every time we arrived at a new season, for the 3 seasons that we did, Brian would talk to me, but as we were finishing one, he'd say, "Yeah, this is what I've got in mind." Like, oh my God, that's amazing, Brian! And then we'd show up the next season, it would be completely different, and he would have just in the interim period have had some time, and his various sources of inspiration, and dreamt up something that was surprising. Right? And I remember equally when we talked about the end of the 3rd season, not knowing that it would be a kind of final. talked to me, he said, I've got this in mind, what do you think? And I said, yeah, it was quite late in a bar. He said, yeah, here's what I think. And I said what I think, and he was like, yeah, fantastic, and then just ignored every single thing. That felt good. So Brian is the captain of that ship.
We'll have to call Brian into the Hannibal reunion tour next time.
Great. We wouldn't get a word in.
This would be 8 hours.
Plan accordingly. Great, so you both previously shared that a potential season 4 could pick up at any point after the Wrath of the Lamb. And although you don't want to disappoint us, Brian has said that it might answer the most asked questions about Hannibal and Will that Google has to ask, including will they kiss, die, love each other, kill together, date. If we followed real time and see
There was very little killing in that. I said kill once, but
if we followed real time and season 4 happened after nearly a decade of Will and Hannibal existing together, what do you think their relationship would look like, and what would have changed between them?
I think it would be boring to see them a decade later. I'm fine with a couple of years. Obviously, they have to heal after the fall. But I think a decade we'll be missing out on something crucial, because then it would just be a couple.
Unless they haven't been together, right? Unless Will's been in a hospital for years, which I imagine.
So they landed in different ships when they fell off.
Will has one strong arm and Hannibal has another strong arm, and they kind of did. Well, look, it's nice of Mads to imagine it, but I'm not sure that only 2 years having passed is very realistic at this point.
We'll have to cheat a lot, right? But
it was just a rough 2 years.
There's such a thing as AI today.
So, Matt, you reunited with Brian on the upcoming movie That's Funny. Is there anything new you can tease there? And who do you think has the better wardrobe, the mysterious neighbor or Hannibal?
Yeah, well, actually, Mr. Dancy can answer that question. He's seen the film. I have.
It's excellent, I can say that. Maz is excellent, as you would expect. The wardrobe is fantastic. It's very different. What would I personally choose to dress as? I'm gonna go with the neighbor. I don't think I want to wear Hannibal suits every day. Don't know.
Yeah, okay, let me put it this way. When I read the story in the beginning, you can read it two ways. It's a little lifted, you can read it like that, or you can read it a lot lifted from the reality of the world. I read it a little lifted. So every time I saw the costumes he had planned, I was like, what? Who is this man? And he told me he was, okay, I can't tell you what he is, but it's like, but he can't be wearing that or that. And then eventually I figured out, okay, it's very lifted. I'm not going to ask a question about the wardrobe again.
There is a slight sense that you're like, wait, that's Brian. Oh, no, no, sorry.
I would go with Hannibal. I love what Hannibal was wearing. Yeah. There you go.
So if Will and Hannibal had to choose a last meal, what would it be?
I guess you're meaning together, right?
Or separately. I mean, if Will is that last meal, that's
If you were the last meal.
I think that's entirely plausible.
Yeah, it's got to be something with kidney, right?
Yeah, some kind of offal.
Yeah. Vanilla kidney. Korea style barbecue. Could be.
delicious. Yeah, well, I mean, you.
Honest truth, I don't think Will cares very much.
That's
Big cooking for 3 years for you. You're lying to me all these You're always like delicious,
fantastic.
Didn't give a shit. You just wanted Burger King.
If you had to eat a painting, which painting would you choose to consume?
Very small one.
gummy worms.
If Mona Lisa was rude, I would probably pick that one. Also because it's such a historical thing, and I think Hannibal really appreciate that people would talk about him again and again.
Season 4.
That's his vanity right there.
If one of your other characters could cameo on Hannibal, which one would you choose, and would they get eaten?
You want us to pick a cameo?
Yeah, if
One of our characters from another show,
Come to him.
another job.
Yeah? Had to go and visit the Hannibal show. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if you wanted, yeah, anyone. And would they get eaten if they did?
Would they get eaten? I played a cannibal before. It's a different one. It's kind of out of necessity because he's called Sved. He's from a film called The Green Butchers. Out of panic, he kills an electrician one day and then he starts chopping him up and selling him as chicken. And it's a huge success. He eats this one himself. Yeah, I think that would be fun for him to be in the Hannibal show. Have a partner in crime. I don't think he belongs there at all.
I played kind of an aspiring cult leader at one point. He would be, I don't think he would last a second.
Hannibal would eat him. Matt, what would Hannibal have said to Will's wife Molly if he met her? Hot topic. Ooh, Hannibal plays emergency.
I think what we have said. I mean, he would be curious.
Congratulations.
Yeah. He would probably be curious of who was proposing to who. And he would probably also, eventually, while Will was listening, he would probably tell her that he would love to have her for dinner.
And Hugh, how do you think Will described Hannibal to her?
My therapist. And I can't talk about it anymore. What happens in that
Here. And when will you make a movie in Denmark, Hugh?
I like the sense of inevitability. I mean, really, I think it's a mass.
Yeah, he's working on his Danish. Say something funny, Hugh.
You've been out? Yeah, I don't know, we'd love to. I've never visited. So let's start there.
Okay. I hope so.
That's how close we are.
That's a callback to your first panel together at the Paley Center in 2014. And you said that Matt is always saying you should make a movie together in Denmark.
It's true. I'm sure he said together. But did I say that? Yes. It's coming back to me. Hoping.
It's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, let's do it then. Let's make it.
Matt, while on the run together, which of Will's habits might come to grate on Hannibal, and vice versa?
Say that again.
Oh, which of Will's habits might come to grate on Hannibal if they were on the run together?
Come in handy or what?
To annoy him.
Annoying? Yeah. 1,000 dogs straight. It's like the easiest way to spot us. Will, can you get me at least one of them? I'll be annoying.
And no vice versa?
He's so fussy. The cutlery is not straight.
Would Will turn the cutlery at just a little angle so he could understand?
No? I don't think he would care. But I think he would notice the...
And so, what is the first thing you think Will and Hannibal would do in Cuba? Yes, there's
We're in Cuba.
according to
What are
Brian.
we doing in Cuba? Yeah, cigars and stuff, but I mean, oh. they probably would dig out the Fidel and have a dinner. I think that I'm sure that Hannibal would love to have that on his bucket list. Mona Lisa, Fidel, Hemingway, this one.
Great, so I think we can turn to fan questions in a moment.
Let's get to some obscure questions.
But before we do, Hannibal has a habit of changing the lives of people who watch it, whether in small ways, like being able to better identify what good TV is, or in major ways, like bringing them community and friendship. How would you say Hannibal changed your lives?
I don't think, it's hard to say that, I mean, there's not one part of one film that changes your life, but it has an impact on your life, right? And obviously, we've now known each other we worked years ago, my first film over there, and then we reunited on Hannibal and are really good friends, and a lot of the other people from the show, we're still in touch with them, and it's a rare opportunity for an actor to work on something for 3 years. Obviously, you can do it in TV, but something that keeps the billing as crazy as this one did. So it was always a challenge to be on that show, and it's a very rare opportunity for an actor. So it's something that will always be with us, but whether it changed or not changed our lives will remain unanswered.
Completely agree, but it's just an indelible part of our lives now.
Absolutely. Okay, I think you can line up for questions. There's a mic over here. I'm going to remind you to ask one question only, and usually we say no spoilers, but that should be a fail.
I think I blew that one already. No spoilers, but...
And no requests for voices or recordings or things like that. Okay?
Hello, my name is Tanya. Thank you for being here. My question isn't really related to any of your work, but it's just a question I ask everyone. If you could go back in time in history, when would you go back to?
He's already said Genghis Khan, isn't he? And then, weirdly, me too. Genghis Khan up here. No, I don't know. I don't know if this is an answer to your question, but I've never had any curiosity about going back to any particular period of time. But I am reading books at the moment about Tudor England and the reign of Henry VIII, which is increasingly clear to me was batshit. And I'd be interested in that.
Or go back and see how they built the Göbekli Tepe. And that's completely silent in here. It's a civilization that is probably 12,000 years old, like 5,000 years before the pyramids, and as immaculate built, and nobody has an answer to how they did it. That would be fun. Not to the heat. The potatoes? No, I'm good.
Okay, hi, I'm Abby. I have a question specifically for Hugh. In Mizumono, it's such a complicated episode. What was your process as an actor, specifically during the moment where he says you were supposed to leave? What was your process as an actor of developing Hugh's, or not Hugh, Will's thought process and your own when you read that line?
We had talked about it. I mean, not so much between ourselves, but I had talked about it with Brian, and I know Matt's had as well, like the trajectory of that season, and that, not that specific moment, but everything surrounding. But ultimately, Brian sat in his apartment way up in Toronto, probably writing it at 4 in the morning, and it arrived, and I think I just wanted to show up and do it, and it sounds like it's a disappointing answer, but it's not really something you can necessarily prep for. You go as just try and be responsive. And there's a lot in there. I mean, it's very brutal and it's very ugly and it's very upsetting. But there's also a lot. You have to kind of suspend your disbelief quite a lot. There's a dance that they're doing. So it's just a matter of playing it out and seeing what happens.
Cool, thank you.
Hi, I'm...
Oh,
Hello.
Okay, alright, so, hello, my name is Hannibal, and I have a
question for both of you. If you could pick a character from any of your movies to like meet the other one's character, who would you pick? Like any film, any show.
So like one of my characters meeting one of his characters?
Yes.
That's a fandom thing. With the Hannibal extended universe.
This is hard because it involves side conversations. Let's see. I mean,
I think actually the character I did in Indiana Jones, Dr. Fuller, who was working with time travel, will come in handy for Will Graham to meet.
Yeah. I played a kind of guy, I mean, there was a lot going on in his life, but he was a kind of owned a wine bar. This is in the Big C. The fact that he owned a wine bar was the least significant thing about it. But he could have met, I feel like he could have met Maz's other cannibal.
Beautiful. Okay, let's do one more from this side, do it now, we'll go back.
Hey guys, Stephen again. I wanted to say first off, thank you for being so sweet to all of us. Is asking you a question of using my power on this microphone?
Sorry, what was that?
If asking, well, you did ask just one question, but you get one more.
I did. Alright, first one for Max. I'm a big fan of Hideo Kojima, and obviously you and Death Stranding. I'm not only keeping up with his video games, but also keeping up with his Twitter and Instagram. It's no secret he has a bit of Max fever, and you guys have a bit of a bromance. I was wondering what's it like hanging out with him, and do you guys talk often?
I've been to Japan a few times, and I always meet him when I'm there. And he has been in Europe a couple of times where I also meet him. He's very active on Twitter. I'm not existing on Twitter, actually. So yeah, I think it's just part of his life. He's treating that whole social media thing as if he's a teenager. He's aware of how successful it is for him to get his message out and talk about these things. So in many ways, he's like a 17-year-old boy. But he's an amazing guy and absolutely a genius within the world of gaming.
Awesome. And one final thing for both of you guys. It's no secret. It's very obvious you guys have been aging finer than wine.
Ironically, wine.
And the occasional beer.
Thank you guys.
Hi, I'm Selena. Thank you guys for coming. I just want to know, this doesn't necessarily have to be Hannibal related, but do you ever get nervous when you're doing a job? And if you do, what is your way to overcome that and to trust your intuition that you're doing, like you're on the right track?
Good question. I always, at the beginning of any job, there's a sense that you haven't, even if you know, you love the script, you understand what you want to do, at the very beginning, for me, there's a feeling of you haven't put down enough to have your sense of context yet, so it can feel a little unmoored. It just takes a few days, and it took me a long time to realize that it was always going to feel like that for me, and maybe if it ever stopped feeling like that, that would be a problem, even though it's not a lovely feeling. So now I think I'm probably a bit better at riding through that and knowing that it will ease off.
Yeah, I mean, the nervous is fine to a certain level, obviously, when it becomes completely strangling you. This is a place where nobody wants to be. And I think we've all been in that strange situation, and I have no really super good advice for that. Everybody tackles it their own way and figure out how to get around it, or maybe just go into it or whatever. But it does happen once in a while. I remember, for instance, in Hannibal, I had an Italian poem I had to do. So of course, something Brian came up with a couple of days before.
And play the harpsichord.
At the same time, and be super charming in front of 200 people, right? And you get a little nervous in that situation because quite a few of those people in the room were Italian. But I mean, It's diving there, work as hard as you can, be as prepared as you can. So that will take some of the